Welcome back to my channel, Realigned Mindset, and today we are going to be talking about how to stop overthinking. I will be talking about why we overthink and the mindset shifts that are needed to stop overthinking. And I'll also be teaching you a few cognitive tricks to stop your overthinking and to shift it into something more positive and something that's more productive for you. Overthinking is that mechanism that keeps you stuck in your head, thinking that you're wrong, that you're not at the right time, that there's something not quite right with this moment, or there's something that you need to do to be in this moment. But in reality, it's just your mind tricking you into thinking that you're wrong. So have you ever tried to send a friend a text or tried to send your boss a text and you rewrite that text message 3 or 4 times and you cannot let go of the way that you sent it because your brain overthinks the way that you're sending and what you're sending and thinks it should be better, or it should be more professional, or it should have been sent later on, or it should have been sent during working hours, whatever it is. Those questions are exactly what overthinking is. Today I will be breaking down exactly why you overthink, the mindset shifts that stop overthinking, and super powerful cognitive tricks that will help you break free of your overthinking. Okay, let's get started. I want to start with why we overthink. So let's start with the sciencey bit. Our brains lean more towards the negative in order to keep us safe and secure and exactly as we are, because we know who we are in this moment as we are currently. Our brains, when they come across challenges or problems or issues, the first thing that they do is try and solve them in the best way possible, the safest, the most secure, and the one that keeps us exactly as we are. And unfortunately, this can go against what you are trying to build, what you are trying to grow into, what you're trying to create for your life. So the neurological science behind it is basically whenever you've got a question or whenever you've got a fear that comes up, your amygdala is triggered into a fear response. It's almost like your barriers go up a little bit. You're acutely aware of your surroundings and what's going on and what could possibly go wrong. And this is often referred to as hypervigilance. Your awareness becomes heightened towards absolutely everything, and it becomes this quite stressful time in your life where you are constantly looking out for what's going on, what could go wrong all around you with absolutely everything. Overthinking can sometimes feel productive. It can feel like you're checking all the boxes, you're taking inventory of all the angles, you're checking things off of your list, but in reality, you're just staying stuck where you are. You still have questions, you don't have any answers, you still have to do the thing that you're wondering about, questioning about, overthinking about, and you still haven't moved forward in any direction. But what you have done is kept your mind busy on the questions that have come from your fears. So there are 2 distinct types of overthinking: rumination and analysis paralysis. Rumination is where you are stuck thinking about the same thing over and over and over again. So say you messed up a project in the past and you know that you messed up, you know that you fixed it, and you know that you've moved on from it. But every time you have to approach that project or every time you have to do something similar, your mind goes back to that problem or that issue or that thing that you messed up on, and you cannot move forward from it until you figured out what happened in the first place. And even when you have figured out what happened, you still remind yourself of that thing just in case it will happen again, just in case you'll mess up again. And so you have this thought process that keeps you thinking about how badly whatever happened before in the past happened, and how badly it felt, and how badly it looked on you, and how badly it affected your team or the company or whatever. That is rumination, when you constantly think about your past mistakes over and over and over again, so much so that you cannot move forward efficiently or effectively. Analysis paralysis is where you think of every single option that could go wrong about the action that you're about to take. So you've got a decision to make, whether it's applying for a new job, or whether it's starting that new business, or whether it's making any decision in your life. You will go through each and every single scenario that hasn't happened yet, but may happen, and that can happen, and that if something goes wrong, this is what's going to result in that. If this goes wrong, that's what's going to happen to me. All of these things feel like they're genuine scenarios, but in reality, they're just your fears showing you what change will do to you. And they're fears that aren't real. They're fears that your brain has made up for you in order for you to keep you safe. But the majority of the time, you're thinking about what could possibly go wrong instead of taking action and moving forward and getting some answers for yourself. The cost of overthinking is quite large. It tends to take up so much of your time, you forget that you're wasting time just thinking instead of moving forward. I know that, especially when I procrastinate, I can see all of the time slipping away of me just thinking about other things instead of just facing the big thing that I need to do. When you overthink, your brain tires itself out so much that you cannot move forward onto the next thing. So your brain is working in overdrive and you know that you've got something to do, but because your brain has already worked so hard thinking about all of the scenarios and all of the things that can go wrong, you're too tired to think about how to make it work later on down the line. And because you are constantly thinking of all of the things that can go wrong, you lose confidence in yourself, you lose value in yourself, you lose the thought that you can possibly change things around, or that you have all of this knowledge for just in case it does go wrong and you can get yourself out of it. Or you forget all of the things that are really good about yourself and all of the times you've gotten through sticky situations for yourself. Often overthinking stops people from taking action that is needed to develop, to grow, to move forward in your life. And that is why overthinking needs to stop and more action needs to take place. The mindset shift that needs to happen for you to stop overthinking is changing from what if to what next. So all of your overthinking is, well, if I don't get that job, I'm going to be really sad. I'm going to be stuck here forever. If I do apply for that job and I don't get it, I will feel shame. I will feel embarrassed. I will feel sad. I will feel depressed and I will feel stuck, whatever. All of those are what ifs. But what you actually need to start thinking about is what next? What can I physically do? What actions can I take currently to take the next steps to move forward with this thing, whatever it is, whether it's applying for a job, starting a business, whatever. Overthinkers generally think about all of the mistakes that they're going to make and what happens when they fail and how bad will it be, how hurtful it will be, how shameful it will be to fail at that thing. But a growth mindset person, a person that thinks positively about themselves, a person that's willing to take the chances to change their life, will think, what are the next steps that I can take to change my scenario, my situation, my process that I'm currently trying to get away from, things that are making me feel miserable, things that are making me sad, things that are taking my joy away from me. How can I change these things into becoming positive? So when you have a growth mindset and when you think about how much you can and will and need to grow from the position you are in today, it's all about what are the next steps you can grow into? What is the next step that is going to help you move forward? What is the 1% I can do today that will move the wheel forward and help me develop into the person that I'm trying to become? So it's all about what happens next once this thing has happened. What happens next after I've taken action on this one thing? So it's constantly moving forward. When you have a growth mindset, you're always thinking about ways in which you can learn and grow. And lack of experience is one of the ways that people hold themselves back from experiencing anything. And that's what overthinking is. It's overthinking stops you from experiencing growth and experiencing the things that you need to change your life for the positive. A lot of the time my clients come to me and think that they have to be the best at their job. They have to do the perfect presentations, the perfect meetings, the perfect reports, all of this thing. And this is often called perfectionism. And perfectionism is where you think you can create a perfect project, a perfect presentation, a perfect outcome. And in reality, nothing is ever perfect. Everything is okay, or everything is suitable, or everything is right fit for the right time. And so when you are in that perfectionism mode, you are constantly overthinking your ability and your work and your skill level so that you don't have to put yourself forward in a vulnerable position. What I want you to shift from this everything needs to be 100% perfect mentality into is I need you to understand that 80% is good enough. 80% of whatever you're trying to project, whatever you're trying to create, whatever you're trying to do, whatever knowledge you're trying to have, 80% is good enough to move forward. Now, this is probably making your brain scream if you have perfectionism tendencies. So I want you to just understand and sit with it for a little bit. Just sit with, if I've done everything that I can do, and this is what I have been asked to do, this is what is required of me, this is what I can think of, this is what my skill level is, I want you to think that it's okay. Because if you've done everything that you can do, that's good enough because you are good enough. The 80% rule is all about understanding that there's always room for improvement. There's always that little bit that everybody has where they can grow and improve and learn a little bit more. But at the end of the day, in order to move forward, you have to stop at some point and give over the presentation or hand in your work or take action, even if you don't have all of the knowledge. And that's the 80% rule. The 80% rule is moving when you don't have everything in place, when you don't have everything in order, when you don't feel like you know everything. It's just moving forward regardless. Because you've done all of the work, you understand what you're doing, and you're in a position to hand it over. But it may not feel like you have everything together, but you do have the work or the knowledge or the know-how to move forward. The next technique that I want to teach you about is the decision-making framework. Now, every fear that you have, every failure that you have or constantly think about, when you think about all of the ways and things that your project or that your next steps will fail in, I want you to think about whether they will matter later on down the line. Whether they will matter in 5 days, in 5 years, in 5 months, whatever that is. I want you to think and realize that every time you fail, it's not the end of the world. It's always going to be, I've messed up, what can I do to fix it? What can I do to move on? Or what can I do to learn from this thing? When you're trying to grow a growth mindset to change, you will have to learn what a growth mindset feels like. It always feels uncomfortable in the beginning, but it's always asking yourself that question of, what's next? How can I learn from this situation? What is this situation trying to teach me? And how can I grow into becoming the better version of this person? And if it doesn't matter in that period of time, then why does it matter right now? Because you are always capable of growth. You are always capable of learning more. You are always capable of taking action to help yourself grow and to get out of sticky situations. So if it won't matter in 5 days or 5 months or 5 years, what does it matter today? I want you to remind yourself of that question every time you feel like you're spiraling and you are constantly overthinking about something that won't matter later on down the line. And the next tool is done is better than perfect. Now, I mentioned this in the 80% rule one as well. I want you to understand that taking action regardless of the outcome or regardless of how scary it feels or regardless of you not knowing absolutely everything or how to do it or have a clear understanding of what the outcome will be, it is better to move forward than it is to stay exactly as you are. It is always better to take steps forward and to take movement forward in your life than it is to stay stagnant and to stay still and to stay comfortable exactly as you are. And in order to do this, doing something, anything, whatever it is better than doing nothing. Done is better than perfect. Because once you finish something, you can go back to it and change it. You can do it and put it out there into the world and go back and change it once you've got feedback, once you've got an understanding of how it works, once you have seen the outcomes of you putting your reports out, and then you can go back and take a look at what you've produced and say, well, actually, it would be better if I did it this way, or actually, it's quicker if I do it this way, because the results will help teach you how to move forward. Everybody that starts their own business has no idea where it's going to go, how it's going to grow, who they need, what they need at the beginning. It is almost like you're free falling constantly, but in reality, you are learning each and every single day, taking the right steps forward in order for you to learn to grow into the CEO that you want to be, learn and grow to be in the company that you want to be in, learn to grow a huge business that you are proud of and you are successful of. But in order to do that, you have to learn along the way, and you have to do things that make do and are just enough for you to move forward and get a grasp of that level of lifestyle in the beginning. Everybody goes through this process at the beginning because nobody has all of the knowledge in the beginning. Sometimes it is something that you need to experience in order to learn the thing. So done is better than perfect. Moving forward is better than knowing exactly all of the outcomes. So taking action when you have an idea or when you have an interest or when you know that you're expected to do a certain piece of work is so much better. Those were a few tools that you can use and affirmations that you can tell yourself for you to move forward. Now I'm going to give you a few cognitive tips and tricks for you to overcome overthinking. The first one is one of my favorite ones. It's the brain dump. Now there are so many ways that you can do this, and more often than not I use this to help people get all of the things that they're thinking out of their brain and onto pieces of paper. And you do have to physically write this out so that you can see what you're writing and what's going on in your mind. But also physically writing something out enables the brain to physical body connection. So you almost step out of your head and into the real world by physically writing something out, which is why when you journal, it's better to physically write things out. Or when you're doing shadow work, or when you're doing any form of growth and you're learning, it's better to write your notes out so that you're almost getting them out of your head and into the physical world by writing it out. And that's why brain dumping really helps. So when you've got a question or a project or something that's come up for you, I want you to get a piece of paper and a pen and write down every single thought that you have, every single block, every single question, every single outcome that you've got in your head. Now, I don't want you to do this for hours because I know that it sometimes can go on for hours. I want you to set yourself a timer, 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is. But set yourself a timer so that you can dump absolutely everything out. Because the more time you give yourself, the more time you'll take to do this. And we don't want to focus on the negative for too long. Giving yourself a 20-minute deadline will allow yourself to procrastinate, ruminate, all of the things, but also get them all out of your head. And then the next step is I want you to divide all of the things that you've written out into 2 different lists. The things that I can control and the things that I can't control. And then I want you to read out everything that is out of your control and then let them go, because they're completely out of your control. There's nothing you can do about them. There's nothing that you can change or learn or develop for you to control the things that are out of your control, especially immediately. So in that letting go phase, it's more of your mind understanding that there are things that are not going to help you to think about. There are things out there that your brain is constantly bringing up or constantly thinking about or questioning, but those aren't things that you're going to be able to fix, you're going to be able to understand, or you're going to be able to change. And there are things like that about the world. But what I want you to know is that those things that are out of your control are also things that you're thinking about that's wasting your time. Because if you're always thinking about things that you cannot control, how are you ever going to move forward? Because if you can't control them, they're always going to be there. They're always going to keep you stuck and keep you small. So all of the things that you can't control, you need to let go of. And I want you to move forward regardless. The next is the micro action strategy. I want you to know that when you have a big idea, when you have a new idea, or when you want to start something new, it feels all encompassing. And this is why goal setting, deadline setting, setting out a plan is so important when you have such a big idea. Writing it all out and really detailing what you need to do to make it all happen will help you see all of the little changes that you can make, all of the little steps that you can take in order to achieve this big thing. There's a business rule that as long as you're improving 1% a day, you're still improving. And as long as you're moving the needle 1% forward, you're constantly growing and building your business. And I want you to take on that mentality. I want you to understand that as long as you're taking little steps each and every single day, you are growing into the person that you want to be. You're growing the confidence. You are stopping your overthinking. You are building the business that you want, whatever it may be. But I want you to understand that you're constantly taking steps forward. If everything feels really big, you're obviously going to scare your brain, and you're going to scare your brain into inaction. So what I want you to do is feel a little bit of growth, which is going to help you see that you can move forward, you are capable of growth, that you are capable of doing this thing. And so taking small actions will teach your brain that yes, it's uncomfortable, but I'm capable. And every single day that you do that, the more confidence you'll grow, the more understanding of your capabilities you will see and your self-worth, because all of these things will result into positive action forward. Now I want you to talk to you about the 1 decision rule. Quite often overthinkers have multiple ideas that they want to talk about, that they want to think about, and there's multiple ways of doing certain things. There's always options that you think about that you could do, that could happen, that may happen, or that you could choose. I want you to stop thinking about all of the options and pick one. Pick one way of doing that thing that you know how to do and do it. And the options, because when you have so many options, you're constantly thinking about all of the options. So when you think about one thing, when you pick that one way of doing something, say it's one way of doing, you're trying to get fitter and healthier. You can go to the gym, you can start swimming, you can start running, you can start walking, you can start a class. There are so many different ways that you could do that. I want you to pick one thing. Pick the walking, for example. So if you're going to get fitter and you're going to get healthier and you're going to get more active, walking is a great way to start doing that. How are you going to walk, where are you going to walk, and how long you're going to walk for are the only questions that you need to be asking yourself. Not, I'm not going to walk today because I feel like swimming. Just focus on the one thing for long enough for you to get used to it. Picking that one thing will lessen the amount of things that you have to overthink about, but also will give you one thing to focus on so that you're not overthinking so much, you're not wasting so much time in your head. You know what you need to take action on by choosing one thing at a time. I don't do this. I do know a few people that do this. I don't know a lot of people that do this, but I do know a few people that backtrack a lot. So they'll make a decision, it'll feel scary and it'll feel horrible and it'll feel confusing, and they'll backtrack and want to take it all back and want to stop everything and hide in a corner. This isn't okay. This is not where we need to stop living our lives. We have dreams that we need to take action on. We have goals that we need to take action on. And in order to do that, backtracking isn't going to help you. The only way to grow is to make a decision and move forward with that decision. You can change your mind later on. You can change and go into a different direction later on. You can start one business and it becomes another business. Absolutely. That happens in business all the time. But what I want you to know is that you cannot start a business and then stop and then let it go and stop and decide, okay, I'm not good at this. It's scary. It's really hard. I don't want to do it. Because what that tells me is that you haven't learned anything. You've kept and held on to all of those fears. You've kept and held on to all of those things that you're overthinking about, and they've gotten too big in your head because you haven't taken regular, consistent action. And because it got so big in your mind and you didn't see the positive changes, you only focused on the things that you're worrying about, you decided it's not for you, which is not the case. If we have goals, if we have dreams, we are meant to take action on them. It's why everybody has different dreams. It's why everybody has different skills. It's why everybody focuses on different things in their life. It's because we're meant to take action on the dreams and the goals that we have for ourselves. They are there for a reason, for us to take action on them. And so if you're backtracking on things that you want, things that you say you'll do, and the things that you have put yourself forward for, you are not being true to yourself. You are not putting yourself in the position for you to live your best life. You are hiding from your life. Backtracking takes all of that back, all of those dreams, all of those goals, all of the things that you said you would do. It takes it all back. And that's not the way to live. You want to be growing and enjoying your life to the maximum. Now, I know it's tough when you have all of these worries and concerns and points of overthinking. But what I want you to do is not get rid of them and not stop them, but I want you to assign a certain amount of time in your day to think about them. So say it's on your commute home. You get half an hour to overthink to your heart's desire. But if you start thinking about that thing that could go wrong, or that project that wasn't the right project, or starting a business is really difficult, or that piece of content that wasn't perfect, any time out of that half an hour commute home, you have to shut it down. Shut it down for yourself. Shut it down so that you can focus on your work, on your task at hand, whatever you're doing in that moment. I want you to focus on your worry moments, on your worry slots that you have in time. You can block these out in your diary, you can write all of your worries out, whatever you do in those 20 minutes or half an hour, whatever it is. I want you to set aside that time and not overthink and not worry outside of that time. What this technique does for you is it says, I get to worry, but I don't get to worry about it outside of this time. Giving it a specific time and date, you are allowing yourself to think and feel freely, but it's also shutting it down when it happens outside of those times. Shutting it down so that you are not constantly overthinking. You are not constantly worrying about what could go wrong, worrying about what will happen or what other people will think. You are doing that in a very specific moment. And this will help you teach yourself to shut worrying and indecisiveness and overthinking down in the rest of your day. It will teach you those techniques because overthinking doesn't really help you. It only creates more space between you thinking about the thing and taking action. So what we want to do is shorten that time frame and eliminate it if possible by giving ourselves this very specific time frame for us to do that in, and then the rest of the time we get to teach ourselves how to shut it down. It's great for me to tell you all of these things. I understand how hard it is to take action. I'm going to give you a few techniques that will help you take action quicker and faster. And my number one favorite technique for this is Mel Robbins's 5-second rule. Now this has nothing to do with food, falling on the floor. What it has to do with is taking action in that moment. The way that I use this and the most often used moment of my day where I use this is first thing in the morning. I want to luxuriate in my bed. I want to have a lie in. I want to stay warm and cozy. I don't want to get up yet because I know I've got so many things to do, but I know I have to. I know I have things to do. I know I have my morning routine to accomplish. I know that I have to start work. I know that I have to organise my day. I use this when I'm in bed and I know that I have to get up. I close my eyes. I think to myself, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, action. You've got to get out of bed. You've got to go. You've got to take the action. You've got to take the steps forward. That is basically that rule. You are training your brain to start taking action as soon as you have the thought, as soon as you have something you want to do, as soon as you come across something that you want to take more time over, you want to think it through more, you want to understand it more. No, we are in the business of taking action to build and grow our dreams. And taking action requires us to stop overthinking and start doing. Now, I am really guilty of this next one. I want you to start thinking about the power of satisfying versus maximizing. The difference between these two things. A maximizing person will think about everything that they need to do that one thing. All of the equipment, all of the outfits, all of the knowledge, everything, and will aim to gather all of those things together before they take action. The satisfier will take action and understand that whatever they do is good enough the first time round. Then they'll get better, and the second time round they'll have a little bit more knowledge, so they'll do it better, and they'll take action, and then they'll learn from their actions and continue that way. They won't wait to gather all of the things before they take action. They will take action in the moment because they understand that the only way to get better at something is by learning how to do it. I used to be this person. I used to be the maximalist. I used to be the person that needed all of the information, all of the apps and all of the tech to start anything. And in reality, all you need to do is hit record and start creating content and start building your business. That was all I needed to do. I learned the hard way by wasting so much money on things that I didn't actually need, that weren't really relevant for a startup business. I learned that all I was doing was putting off my goals for days, waiting for deliveries, waiting to understand new tech, waiting for me to gather all of the information and knowledge of how to use certain apps in order for me to start my business. And that really took so much time out of me, so much money from my bank account. And in reality, all I needed to do was start taking action and then learn what I needed along the way. Learning what I needed along the way has saved me so much more money, I cannot tell you, because there are so many things that other people use and other people need that I don't, because I work my business differently. Not everybody works in the same way. I'm very much a visual learner. Some people are an auditory learner. Some people learn very analytically, so their apps and the tech that they use is very analytical. I'm not. I like things that are easy to see and I can see visually and that I understand visually. So you have to learn these new things about the way that you work, and the only way that you can learn all of these new things is by taking action and seeing, well, actually this works better for me and this is how I prefer to process my ideas and my workload and all of that kind of stuff. So taking action will help you learn more about yourself and help you learn the different ways that you can work and the different ways that you can learn and take on any new information and to grow. When you overthink, you use the same scenarios in your head. You say the same things to yourself. I want you to become hyper aware of the things that you say to yourself and the negative scenarios that you keep saying to yourself. The most popular one is probably, what will people think? How will I talk to my friends and family about this? All of the ways in which it can go wrong because I'm not good enough, because I'm not worthy enough, because I don't know what I'm doing, because I'm not this specific type of person. And I want you to understand that all of those things are patterns of language that you use for yourself. You use those same things over and over and over again. And I want you to become hyper aware of the ways in which you stop yourself from moving forward, what you tell yourself over and over again, because those things are not helping you grow. They are keeping you exactly where you are. So if you've got dreams and goals, which I'm going to assume you do because you're watching this, you need to let go of the things that you say to yourself that hold you back. I want you to know what they are. I want you to write them down and pay attention to them, be aware of them and move forward from them. So whenever you catch yourself saying, what will other people think? It doesn't matter what other people think. What matters is how you become successful and happy and joyful. It doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank account today. Whatever you can do to move forward is good enough for you to move forward. The next thing I want you to pay attention to is when you feel ready to, because more often than not, the time and the moment that you understand and think about something that you want to do is the time that you should take action. The amount of time that you wait is more often than not a waste of time. If you have an idea and you want all of the things and you want all of the knowledge or know how to do it, you're not learning. You're not giving yourself time to fail, learn and grow from it. You are holding yourself back from growth. If you have something and you feel like you kind of know what it is but you don't know everything, you are putting yourself in a position of lack. You continuously think that you're not worthy, you can't do this thing because you don't have all of the information, you don't have all of the know-how. And that is a position of lack, and that is not true, because like I said before, if you've got all these goals and these dreams, we are the ones that are meant to make them happen. And in order to do so, taking action regardless of whether we have all of the knowledge or not, regardless of whether we know what we're doing or not, is still action. It still counts. It's still motion forward. It's still movement towards your goals. So I want you to start learning that every time you use those negative thoughts, you're wasting your own time, which isn't going to help you at all. There are multiple ways that really famous people have stopped their overthinking. And I think my favourite one is when Steve Jobs changed his entire wardrobe to wear those black turtlenecks so that he didn't have to think about choosing. He made the decision already what he was going to wear. It was a really simple decision, it was a really quick decision, and all he had to do was take action. He took away all of his options, gave himself one option, and did that for the rest of his days. It was easy, it was simple, it was clean and unique for him. That worked for him. It's about helping yourself understand what gets in your way and how you can change that to help yourself make decisions quicker, help yourself take action quicker. Self-doubt and worry and overthinking can often halt dreams for so long. So I want you to pay attention to the things that you've been thinking about for quite some time and haven't taken action on, because you're still in that worry phase. You're still in that, I don't have enough money, I'm not knowledgeable enough, I'm not strong enough to do all of these things. All of these things take growth. All of these things take learning along the way. So if you're stopping yourself from learning, you are putting your dreams on pause for yourself. I want you to also think about how your goals come to you, their ideas, their wishes, their hopes, but they're also gut instincts. They're also your body telling you this is what you need to do. This idea, this goal, this thing comes from within you. So I want you to start trusting yourself. So if you've got an idea, if you've got a goal, if you've got a wish, that is for you to move forward on. That is for you to take action on. So if you're constantly holding yourself back, you're not going to feel happier or joy or settled and satisfied in your life, because you still have those things that you're working on. And once you start taking action, you'll see that you become happier. You'll see you'll feel more accomplished and you'll feel more confident within yourself, because you've started taking action on the things that you've said that you wanted to do for so long. And that is why getting rid of your overthinking is going to be a key step for you to take in order for you to achieve your goals. Because overthinking keeps you stuck. Action keeps you in the learning mode. Action will help you grow into the version of yourself that you want to become. I would love to know all of the things that you are overthinking currently. So please put them in comments and I will keep you accountable and help you move forward with them and break them down for you so that you can take action if you want any help. If you found this video helpful, please check out my last video on confidence building. It will help you grow so much more and help you build on the goals that you have. And if you have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel so that you will not miss my next video. Lots of love. Mwah. Bye.